My name is Jamel Ellis, as Ms. Hiller just said. I've been with Richland County since January, so bear with me as I try to kind of walk you through what sustainability means for Richland County. Okay, in advance. So one of the big questions really surrounding sustainability, not only for people who are not familiar with sustainability, but even for people who have worked in sustainability for many years, still trying to kind of define and outline what sustainability means. And it's used in a number of ways. But for Richland County, we are looking at sustainability as protecting our communities as well as our renewable and non-renewable resources while effectively supporting our business operations. And over the past number of years, maybe about 5 years, Richland County has really taken an active stance on developing sustainability as a department and as one of its primary missions. And so the mission statement for Richland County is to ensure Richland County's operations and decision-making as they reflect our commitment to environmental, social, and economic sustainability. Also to provide innovative solutions to decrease energy demand through energy efficiency and conservation, create livable, sustainable communities, and to promote the green economy. I think this is the slide that will have the most wording on it, but I wanted to make sure that you actually see what the mission statement is for sustainability in Richland County. Thank you. So typically sustainability includes sort of 3 legs, if you will, and that's environmental, economic, and social. And for the environmental component of sustainability, typically that's looking at protecting our renewable resources, which are air and soil, water, that sort of thing. And then also minimizing our use to the best of our abilities of non-renewable resources, coal and that sort of thing. Economic sustainability really has to do within Richland County with looking at our expenses as it relates to water usage, energy efficiency of our operations. And then the social component is twofold. And with each of these, it's kind of twofold. We look at sustainability externally in terms of how we interact with the community, but we also, and this is my primary role, work with our employees because we want to make sure that we are protecting taxpayer dollars as well. So we've installed motion sensors on the light switches, for instance, throughout 2020 Hampton Street. And so it's those types of things that really through education, which is a part of the social component of sustainability, kind of completes that overall view of what sustainability looks like. So the environment, the economy, and the social aspect of it. So I don't know if you've seen this before, but this is sort of an overview of the different departments within Richland County. And the reason why I kind of included this slide is because sustainability is, even though there's an office of sustainability, I am the manager of sustainability, sustainability really should be integrated throughout each of the departments. And you'll hear some of that with some of the other speakers this evening. So keep that in mind as you listen to the other speakers this evening. And not only this evening, in the other classes, those elements of sustainability that you hear them referencing as they go through the programs that are in place.
Did I ask how long this has been going on, sustainability?
I believe it's been for the past 4 years technically. And I brought, for instance, just to show you all that Richland County worked with Lexington County and the City of Columbia, for instance, to develop a sustainable energy plan. And that was one of the first kind of major projects that Richland County did. So it's been about 4 years. So as an official,
Right.
yeah, not that there was no sustainable programming before that, so, okay. So I mentioned that there are basically three components to sustainability. One way to look at it, this is called a Venn diagram, and you'll see how those different elements overlap. And in terms of the environmental piece of it, we're looking at natural resources. I mentioned soil and air pollution, environmental management. That really falls under land use and how we build our buildings and pay attention. I'll go over an example of land use a little bit later in my presentation. And then pollution prevention. Social, the social aspect has to do with the quality of life of our community, as well as our employees. Education is a big component. And so we have a lot of our employees within Richland County dedicate a good amount of their time to going out into the communities and making sure that we're doing the best that we can with informing and educating community members. And then community engagement, of course, is getting that feedback from the community and establishing a working relationship to achieve the goals that we're trying to achieve in different spaces. And the last thing, I want to just say capacity building is really important because it allows community members not only to identify problems, but also to learn along with Richland County and other stakeholders in our community how to develop measurable outcomes. So you don't just identify a problem, you identify solutions, and you identify ways to measure the outcome. So whether you're looking at energy usage, whether you're looking at stormwater prevention, whether you're looking at air pollution, that capacity building piece of it is where we move together in trying to make sure that you understand what your role is as community members in either mitigating, making better those situations, or eliminating, if at all possible, as in with stormwater, some of the pollution areas. And economic, that really comes back down in this case with this audience to taxpayer dollars, and what can we do to make sure that we are being the best stewards that we possibly can with our tax dollars. This I included just as another, so the last slide was really more of an overview of sustainability. This I included as a visual just to sort of show what the primary kind of categories are in terms of sustainability and what I will be looking at in terms of measurables. So how I measure where we stand in each space as it relates to sustainability, and that's energy, water usage. I'll be working with Mr. Curtis quite a bit on the recycling and our facilities management, our fleet management, land use, and I have a separate slide for community initiatives because there's so much going on in the community. This slide I included because I think it's a really neat project that we have going on in Richland County right now, and it really is a good example of how each of those areas or sustainability overlaps a number of different areas. So this is the Decker Center complex, the new judicial center on Decker and O'Neill Court. And this really sort of demonstrates the stormwater management plan that they have there. So there's a stormwater catchment system that's on the back corner if you're facing from the street, and that would be looking from the bottom up. So that back left-hand corner is where there's a catchment system. It catches rainwater off of the roof, and they use the water from that system to irrigate the landscape. There is also pervious concrete, and so won't get into too much of the science, but when you've got pervious concrete, you have less runoff. So you don't have all the oil and gasoline and whatever else is spilled on the concrete going into the stormwater drains. You get some of it that seeps down directly down into the groundwater, and it doesn't get into our surface waters, not as much. The rain garden, of course, it's just another means of capturing stormwater runoff. It waters, we use native plants. And then the last is the stormwater units that filter out all of the large particles, again, some of the other contaminants that may be going into the stormwater system. It just helps to filter all of that stuff. And the other thing is, and I won't go into this as much, but there's also the Energy Star rating that they've included in the renovation process in this building, and as well as just the renovation itself. So rather than them building a new building from the ground up, they used an existing building and met the codes that they were supposed to meet to help us reach that Energy Star rating. And so all of those things are steps towards sustainability. One example of how we do that across different departments, and even across, even within one project, hitting on different components of sustainability. This slide is just an example of our community initiatives, and Richland County has a number of collaborators that we work with. Some of those are other government entities. I mentioned the City of Columbia and Lexington County. We work with South Carolina DHEC on a number of projects. In terms of universities and schools, we have the Green Apple Day Service Awards, and there are some grant collaboratives that I've been working with USC on. There's local and nonprofit organizations that we work with. We may hear a little bit about the Clemson Extension Carolina Clear later. Obviously, we work closely with Sunoco Recycling, as well as internally our Richland County countywide stormwater consortium. Yeah, so part of what my job is is to develop a program that allows me to create a metric kind of program so that I can actually internally show where our savings are, and also for the community. And I've had some conversations with one of our councilmen about this because he wants to see that, and I think it's a good idea to provide that information to the citizens on our website. And so that's part of what my short-term, long-term, in terms of a year or so plan is to update our website and provide that information. That's more or less sustainability in a nutshell.